episode 15 of the BRASH Sports Podcast, brought to you by the last good parking spot in a crowded lot. The holiday season is upon us once more, and you know what that means. Awkward political conversations at the dinner table? Yes, but also it's time to hit the stores and buy gifts for all the people you love yet again. The luxury of online shopping may have made you forget what it's like to get in your car and drive to the mall. But around this time every year, you're reminded what it's like to loop around parking lots endlessly, and your disdain for humanity rises to an untenable level. Well, wait, what's this? Off in the distance, an open spot, and it's right near the entrance. You stomp on the gas, pray it's not handicapped. Hefty women, arms loaded with shopping bags, are dodging you as you race to the opening. You hit your blinker, cut off a minivan, and pull in and celebrate your victory. Nothing beats this feeling. So the next time you're on this mission, be sure to take a deep breath, suppress your hatred for mankind, and use promo code BRASH30 to save 19%. The last crowded spot in the parking lot sure beats walking an extra 20 feet. What's up, Brandon? That was a very lengthy brought to you by. Glad it's over. How's it going, man? Are you still riding the high of the Redskins' victory Monday night?
Well, I
You
think
look pretty decked out over there.
I believe my attire speaks for itself, along with the new addition, or I guess replacement of my background. Which, when we first started Brash Sports, this is how things started, right? And then I made the swap to the Man City flag because Man City, or they're up here, and the Redskins are always just way down yonder. But
Yeah.
been riding high, my friend, these last couple days. I mean, you got to soak it all in when you get a big fucking victory like the Commanders/Redskins did on Monday night in Philadelphia. No more undefeated teams in the league. So
No, there aren't. Well, I'm sure we will cover that plenty, but you want to start with our London game as we dive into this run through here?
We're gonna get started, but we're not gonna get started with a London game. We're gonna get started with a Germany game.
Oh, right. Oh my God.
That's right.
How could I forget? Dude, and by the way, real quick, German fans are awesome. Like singing
they wouldn't
Sweet
go.
Caroline.
They wouldn't leave.
They wouldn't leave the stadium. How fucking cool is that?
They were singing John Denver Country Roads. I mean, they all knew the words to it. It was amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm in West Virginia, so just sitting back, relaxing on a Sunday morning, watching that, it was fantastic,
Yeah,
man.
I would say
I was envious of all the people that were there.
for sure, dude. Munich games have officially surpassed London games in my mind.
We're gonna see more Germany games in the future for sure. This
For
one was a fun one. Tampa Bay versus the Seattle Seahawks. You had Seattle going into it. I felt like it was the Bucs' opportunity to sneak a victory, and that they did. They came out swinging right off of the bat, and they were leading 14-0 at halftime. They got outscored 16-7 in the second half, but they hung on. They got the win, and Tom Brady looked like Tom Brady of last year, man. 22 of 29, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And now the Bucs are sitting at 500 at 5-5, and the Seahawks 6-4. Great position after 10 weeks. So nothing to be too disappointed about as a Seahawks fan, especially the amount of travel they had to do to get over to Germany. It's one thing going from Tampa to Germany, but going from Seattle? Are you fucking kidding me? So they were a little bit more jet lagged, I suppose, than the Buccaneers were.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't really factor in when I was making picks. You could
I
tell
didn't think of that either.
in the first half they looked lost. They looked like it was their first down of football of the entire season. So they didn't look like the same team until that second half. But little too late. Seattle takes the L, but either way, I don't think they can be too discouraged based on the fact that they traveled halfway across the world to go do that. And yeah, Tampa Bay could be back, man. They looked really good. They've strung together a few wins. That defense is playing great. Tom Brady looks a little more reinvigorated. So, yeah, man, watch out. They could be a sneaky team heading into the playoffs.
Bucks now in prime position to win the NFC South, the AFC South. No, I had it right. The NFC South. The Seahawks are in position to take the NFC West. So still very both fan bases, a lot to be excited about, regardless of that outcome. I'm not gonna be shitting on the Seahawks too much after that one. It was a tough game, and they looked a lot better in the second half. The next one we're getting to, we're just going to get it right out of the way. It was the game of the year. Minnesota Vikings traveling to Buffalo, not an easy place to play. You to talk about going to Seattle, going to New Orleans. I'm putting Buffalo right up there as one of the absolute toughest venues for an away team. The Vikings pulled it out. They won 33-30 in overtime after the Buffalo Bills defense made it a fantastic stop at the 1 yard line. It looked like the Vikings were destined to get that touchdown and take the lead. It was the following play that Josh Allen, he fumbled the ball, and the defensive lineman for the Vikings scooped it up, gets them the touchdown. They take the lead, but 41 seconds is too much time on the clock. Josh Allen and the Bills were able to drive 59 yards and put Bass in position to kick a 29-yarder. That brought it to OT, and the Vikings scored their field goal in the opening drive, and then Josh Allen, he put everything on his back. Beautiful drive all the way up until they reached the Minnesota 20-yard line, where he threw a pick, and it just looked like one of those throws he didn't have to make. He was trying to force something, trying to be the hero, and it backfired. Vikings get the win. Make me eat my words, because leading up to this week, I said 7-1, they're a fraud, and they need help from the officials and from the football gods. But boy, was I wrong. They proved me wrong, and they showed that they are a legit contender for the NFC and for the Super Bowl potentially, man.
Yeah, I agree. Vikings are for real. Bills are still very good, but they really need to figure out ways to get it done without having Josh Allen do everything, right? They don't even try to run the ball. It's weird. I don't understand why. Their offensive line isn't bad. They play in a cold weather stadium, so they need to figure out that run game, because it's only going to get harder as it gets colder. So yeah, they really need to figure that out. I'm a little bit worried about the Bills right now. They're too one-dimensional. Their defense is still great, but they're being put in these really bad positions by their offense, making so many mistakes, turnovers, etc. Josh Allen looks like he's regressing a little bit in that regard. So yeah, we'll see. I've got Buffalo's on watch for me in terms of sliding down where I think that they should be, and where I had them beginning this football season, where I thought they'd be the clear number one team throughout the year. They're making me a little nervous on that.
Yeah, that's back-to-back losses for the Bills. I didn't think we were going to see that this year.
Nope, neither did I.
So they better get things figured out soon, and like you said, they better figure out how to implement Singletary more in the game plan, because looking at it, Josh Allen actually was the leading rusher for the Bills with only 6 carries, but for 84 yards, and Singletary had 47 yards on 13 carries. But 13 carries, that's not acceptable for your top running back. And I'm sorry, they gotta take a step back, take a deep breath, reevaluate. I'm sure the Bills will get it figured out. I have not lost confidence in them just yet. Now, 3 losses in a row, who knows? Might change my opinion, but for the time being,
this is like a warning track flag. Like, hey, we're watching you right now, right? Like, I put all my eggs in their basket, saying that they're going to go win the Super Bowl this year. Right now, I got that caution flag up. So hopefully they turn it around. I have faith in them. It's a great coaching staff. But yeah, they're on high notice. High notice from me.
What a fun game. If you missed it, I'm sorry. I mean,
Oh,
because you
amazing
just
game.
you had to watch it live. It was such a good back and forth and so exciting. But let's move right along to another exciting game that nobody was watching, which was the Detroit Lions getting the victory over the Chicago Bears, 31-30. This one, I'm sure the Lions fans and Bears fans, of course, were tuning in, and they saw a show. Lions outscored the Bears 21-6 in the fourth quarter. They pretty much stunned them because it looked like the entirety of the game that the Bears had this one in the bag. But teams like the Bears and the Lions, you can't trust them, and that's why I said betting purposes, stay far away from this one because you never know which team is going to just find a way to shit the bed. And in this case, it ended up being the Chicago Bears. Amon-Ra St. Brown is back. He finished the day with 10 receptions for 119 yards. So, I'm not going to get too excited for the Lions at this point. I mean, what was that? There was their third win of the season. So they're at 3-6. Bears at 3-7. But first away win for the Lions this year. So that was just nice to get over that hump.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that because they've been not just bad atrocious on the road. I think they scored 6 total points the last 2 weeks away from home. So Jared Goff just kind of figured this out. You can tell Amon-Ra St. Brown just makes a huge difference for them. He is a stud at wide receiver. I hope either they figure their shit out or he gets to go somewhere where he has a chance to be a difference maker in the NFL, because right now he's just going to rot away in Detroit. But yeah, this game, it's like moving forward, I think the only takeaways are Justin Fields still played a hell of a game. He's on pace, I think, to break Lamar Jackson's single season rushing record for a quarterback. So he's their guy. I think Chicago's pretty much figured that out. Like, we don't need to find a new quarterback. Justin Fields, we can build around him. And Detroit, yeah, you got the win, cool, but you're almost better off losing at this point, getting a better draft pick, in my opinion. So I don't know. Not like meaningless game. Should just move past it.
I think it'll be easy for the Bears to move past it because, again, they're 3-7, so
right.
They're already thinking about next year
for sure.
I don't like the concept though of having Fields running for 150 yards a game. Yes, it's entertaining as a neutral fan and watching it, but I would be a little worried if I were a Chicago fan. Maybe that's something to do with me going through the RG3 experience in 2012, but that doesn't have a great what's the term I'm looking for, Josh?
Long-term success.
There you go.
Usually doesn't work out. Me personally, I don't want my quarterback running all over the field either. But when he has time and when he has open receivers, he's got a good arm. He's making good throws.
Yep.
But he just finds himself scrambling. He's doing the new quarterback thing where you don't trust the system that your coaches have built. You got to see a guy wide open in order to make that throw and step into it, like 7-step drops instead of 3-step drops, just because you don't have that trust yet. He'll get there. But right now you can tell his athleticism is just through the roof. So he'll get there.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Their top receiver from that game, and then we'll move right along, was a guy by the name of... Oh, you know about Cole Kmet?
Yeah, he's tight end.
Oh, okay, yeah. 4 receptions, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, and he had a 50-yarder. I mean, that's impressive. But I had not heard of him, so shame on me. You've been following on your Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
Fighting Irish.
I study tight ends just very thoroughly. I'm a tight end guy. So.
Especially those from Notre Dame. You're big on Notre Dame tight ends.
Big time.
Always have been, always will be.
Right. I want to know who the whitest guy in the NFL is, and Cole Kmet is right up there among the whitest.
He's pretty white.
He's very white.
He's a white guy. Tennessee Titans, they get another victory. They moved to 6-3 against the Denver Broncos. You had a little bit of faith in the Broncos. They were leading at halftime 10-7, but they couldn't muster any points after halftime. I mean, what are you going to say? They got shut out. Titans at 6-3. Titans, they're squeaking by though. It's not a convincing 6-3, which will make tomorrow's Thursday night game all that much more interesting. But I wanted to note that Nick Westbrook, another player, just popped up on the radar. Wide receiver for the Titans, finished the day with 5 receptions for 119 yards, 2 scores. So, keep an eye out rather for this Nick Westbrook guy, because talk about coming out of nowhere, which there was another wide receiver that kind of came out of nowhere this past week. When we're going to get to him in a moment.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know. I didn't follow this game at all. Go figure. I was on the Red Zone channel, and this was a very low-scoring game, as we thought it would be. So,
yep, got the under.
A lot of action. Pretty much every time they jumped to this game, it was Russell Westbrook making really bad throws. I want to blame Nathaniel Hackett for this entire debacle in Denver, but Russell Wilson looks bad. He looks like a really bad quarterback right now. Yeah. He is not to go without blame. I don't know if I never would have pegged him for one of the guys that would get a big contract and then check out, but he's kind of getting a big contract and playing like shit. So I don't know. 1 + 1 = 2 sometimes. I can't figure out what's wrong with Denver. I had some faith. They were winning at halftime. I was feeling good about that. And they just looked awful in the second half. Russell Wilson making horrible throws, missing guys that are wide open, and throwing interceptions at really inopportune times. I don't know what you do in Denver. I don't know what you do with that team. They're loaded on defense. Their defense is so good, but they are absolutely pathetic on offense. And they have an offensive-minded head coach. I don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. But they're I'm never picking them again. They could lose to anybody in this.
I do like their defense, and which it would be so frustrating as a Denver Broncos fan. And trust me, I've been there. There's been seasons where you got a stout, talented defense, but your offense can't score points to save their goddamn life.
Yeah.
So, at 3-6, they're completely out of the playoff conversation in both of our opinions. But I do agree with you. I don't know how I'm going to be able to pick them in any more of our picks. I just don't see them getting. I don't care who you put up against them.
Not a single team. Not a single. I picked Houston over them.
I did pick Houston over them. Remember?
Oh yeah, you're right.
That was one of their 3 wins, but it was still close. Right. It was close.
He played. Yeah, they suck. They're just bad. And I think, their schedule's got to be getting worse. Like, they're going to have big division games. Like, they're just going to get blown out. I don't know. They might get 1 or 2 more wins, but I'm not going to pick them. That's for damn sure.
Well, we thought this next game was going to be a blowout, but it ended up being a little closer than many thought. The Chiefs get the victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars, as they should have. 27-17 was your final there. Mahomes, kind of running away with the MVP conversation. 26 for 35, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns to 4 different wide receivers. 1 interception, finished with a QBR of 92.3. The Chiefs now at 7-2, and Jacksonville, they're out of it. And then again, in their division, maybe not, but they're at 3-7. And it's a bummer because I didn't watch the game, but just looking at the numbers, Trevor Lawrence didn't have a terrible day. He actually was the reason that they were as close as they were, and kept him in as best he could. But the Chiefs are just a different beast, man. They're in a different class than majority of the NFL. So, what are you gonna do?
It's all, dude, when you have such a good creative coach that draws up amazing game plans and great schemes, and you have a quarterback that can just make anything happen at any given time, make any throw on the field, run for first downs if you need it, doesn't make boneheaded mistakes often. Dude, the Chiefs are just so good. And they just keep adding weapons. It's like Tyreek Hill leaves and Mahomes is playing better now this year. It's crazy to me. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it, and they look like clearly the best team in the NFL. Even on their defensive side, I think Chris Jones is pushing the sack leader line right now. Like, they're doing everything right. I don't know. I know it's maybe a little too early, but I would bet on them to win the Super Bowl this year. There isn't another team out there that is as good as them right now.
We'll get to our power rankings later in the episode, but
we will.
Of course, yeah, it's easy to say that right now, after 10 weeks, it looks like the Chiefs are your favorites to go all the way and host the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season, or hoist the Lombardi Trophy. Hoist. So there was a little scare real quick in this game with Juju Smith-Schuster. He got knocked the fuck out, and
he got clobbered.
Yeah. So we're hoping that he's going to be all right, because especially me, because I recently traded to acquire him in my money league. So I'm really, really going to need him to get back out on that field and produce for me. Concussion or no concussion.
Bring him back too early.
Mhm,
We don't care. Just get that man on the field for Brandon.
As a fantasy owner, you have to have the mindset of a real NFL team owner. Just get your ass back out there and score some goddamn points. That's it.
Hey, they might not need him as much now. Kadarius Toney looked pretty good. They got him the ball a lot, and he was making plays. So, when the Giants drafted him, I knew he was athletically gifted through the roof. But he just had the worst attitude in our locker room, and he was being a diva wide receiver, focusing on his rap career, all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Now he goes to, of course, the best team in the league, and he's like, oh, this is easy. So, I don't know. They've got so many weapons that they can use at their disposal. Juju, take your time to get back. I know, sorry, Brandon, but Juju can take his time.
And of course, they always have Travis Kelce too, so that's another
that guy
easy target. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of him, but I guess I got to watch a little more football.
He's no
see what
Cole
that guy's all
Kmet.
about.
He's no Cole Kmet, but he's all right.
But he could get there. He could get there.
He could get a little hard work, little patience. He'll get there.
Yeah, he's no first ballot Hall of Famer by any means. The Miami Dolphins, they get the victory over the Cleveland Browns, 39-17. Josh! The Browns, they suck. They've officially made the Brash Sports blacklist. Never again
You just made the
putting
list!
them in our parlay, because they were the parlay destroyers this past weekend. I mean, I thought it was going to be a close one, too. I still, of course, had the Dolphins getting the win. But it was just a complete ass whooping. Dolphins are just, they will be a scary team for whoever gets them in the playoffs. Tua finished the day 25 of 32, 285 yards, 3 TDs, no picks. And my boy, Jeff Wilson Jr., in his new home, he finished with 17 carries, 119 yards, and a score. So the Dolphins just keep on rolling. Doesn't matter who they plug in the running back spot, they're going to produce. I mean, you got to love what you're seeing out of these Miami Dolphins, man. They're so confident, and they're clinical.
Yes, they are very good. I underestimated them. I mean, I've kind of been underestimating them all season. But then I gave them a lot of credit, and I said, hey, look, this is a really good team. The Browns loss to me was more about the Browns looking worse than they are, in my opinion. They usually keep games really close. I thought that this would be a field goal type game. I was horrifically wrong. Yet another week where we pick 5 out of 6, and a coin flip game where the Browns are involved have screwed us from hitting the parlay. So yeah, I say that they're banned on both sides because the other one they got us on was the Chargers to beat them by 2.5, and the Chargers beat them by 2. So we missed that one by half a point. Browns are just that Jekyll and Hyde team. You never know who's going to show up. You never know if they're going to give you a game. I mean, they blew out the Bengals, blew them out, and then show up and lay an egg in Miami. So they just can't be trusted. I don't know who's going to show up for that team. Fuck the Browns.
Dolphins might just be simply better than the Bengals too. I mean, it might just come down to that. The Cleveland Browns now sitting at 3-6. Dolphins now at 7-3 and atop the AFC East. So, way to go, Miami Dolphins. Let's get to your boys getting to 7-2 against the Houston Texans. They won 34-16.
24.
Oh, 24. I wrote 34 for some reason. I knew I the second I said it, I'm like, no, that can't be right. I thought it was closer than that.
It was closer than that.
But Giants, they led the entire game, correct? You were the one actually watching it. And
I couldn't watch it. I did a little red zone action. They jumped to it as much as they could. But yeah, it was a wire-to-wire victory from what I recall. They were never trailing at any point.
Recipe for this one: hand the ball to Saquon Barkley, hand it to him 35 times, and he'll give you 152 yards, 1 touchdown. And at 7-2, man, your G-men, they're 1 game out of the division lead and ranked what now overall in the NFL standings? They're like sitting at 5, I believe, or 4 or 5. So, just, what an truly football Giants.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't even say start anymore, right? You can't say start.
We're right. We're beyond the halfway point.
In the thick of it.
Right. We are in the thick of it. I still love what we're doing. Brian Daboll should be the coach of the year. He's making sure Daniel Jones is not putting himself in a bad spot because turnovers have always been his issue. And I think that this could be maybe with Josh Allen, right? He was Josh Allen's offensive coordinator. Josh Allen not making as many mistakes when Daboll took over there. Now he's gone. Josh Allen's reverting to making mistakes. Daniel Jones not making mistakes. Could be a little something to that. I don't know. But dude, we're just drawing up good game plans. We've got an underrated defense. It helps when you play the Texans because they suck, but dude, Saquon, just give the ball to Saquon. Make sure Daniel Jones is only throwing when he needs to, and you have that dual action threat. So when you play action fake, people are actually scared of your run game. We're good. I think we're going to be like a one and done team in the playoffs. Maybe win a game in the playoffs, but we're not as good as the top end teams of the NFC. But just to be in the conversation, I'm loving it because it's been so bad for so long. I'm very happy with what we're doing this year.
How can you not be excited as a Giants fan?
I mean, thrilled. Excitement is an understatement for sure.
You got to enjoy every single win and, just let this 7-2 soak in as much as possible.
It still hasn't. Like, I still feel like we are a shitty team. It still hasn't sunk in. One of these days it will. I don't know.
I mean, ever since I literally can remember, my football team has never been 7-2. So, again, just don't take it for granted. Enjoy it.
That's a stat. The Redskins have never been 7-2 in your lifetime?
Yeah, not in my lifetime, no. Fuck no. Oh, they've been 6-2, and then they finished the season 2-6. Yep. That was the hip hip hooray of Jim Zorn era. But let's move right along to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who got the victory against the New Orleans Saints. in the Big Easy, they won 20-10. They were tied at halftime, but the Steelers defense, they blanked the Saints in the second half. They get to 3 wins, and Andy Dalton was Andy Dalton. He threw 2 picks, fumbled 2 times. Fortunately, none of those fumbles were lost, but in the end, it still fucks him up and gets him out of a rhythm, and they lose to a team that they probably should have beaten. Granted, both of these teams are 3-win teams now, but the Saints, I just heard, I think earlier this morning, that they're going to stick with Andy Dalton moving forward, not going to Jameis. What do you think about that?
I don't know, man. I mean, I think with that team, their offense has been so bad. You gotta just have to try new things, just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And Dalton has been bad. Like I don't know why they would. I know Jameis is known for making a lot of turnovers and bad throws and all that, but if the guy that you have in there is doing what you're afraid of Jameis doing, what do you have to lose? So I don't know. That's a head scratcher. I don't really think that they're in a position to go anywhere this year anyway. So
Yeah.
maybe they're just tanking. I don't know. But that one didn't make any sense to me.
Definitely feels like a team that's going to be looking for a quarterback in the first round.
Oh, absolutely.
Lock it up.
Or Derek Carr sweepstakes. I could see Derek Carr getting out of Vegas and going to New Orleans. I don't know why. I could see him in a Saints jersey.
Yeah. Hey, that's a nice transition. Go from Vegas to New Orleans. Yeah, sounds like a fun trip.
Dude, I would, if that was my NFL career, my liver would be a raisin. Just shriveled and shitty, not being able to hold on for dear life. Yeah.
Speaking of Derek Carr and the Vegas Raiders, they lose yet again to the Indianapolis Colts. You called this one. They lose at home 25-20. Matt Ryan, he's back. And you know what? I did not know. Shame on me. I didn't even know that Jeff Saturday had made the move. Of course, duh. But puts the better quarterback back in the position to get a win. And he does. He hands Jeff Saturday his first win at the helm as head coach. Matty Ice finished the day 21-28, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. That's the Matt Ryan we all know and love. And got to mention Jonathan Taylor, of course, 22 carries, 147 yards, 1 touchdown. Maybe did he have a receiving touchdown? Maybe not. But anyway, the Colts they controlled the game. And I know they got the early lead, and then I think the Raiders popped back in, but the defense was able just to hold them down enough to seal out the victory. So, good for the Colts and good for Matt Ryan, and that's awesome for Jeff Saturday too, man. I'm happy that they got that win.
Yeah, I have always liked Jeff Saturday. He's a really smart guy. He got a lot of flack from people all over the league for accepting a coaching position with no experience, which I don't
What
really
is that
understand.
all about? Yeah.
I don't know. I think half of it is former coaches that want to protect the legacy of what it means to be a head coach. Like you got to go through years of coordinating and blah 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 to get there, because it's like, who was it? Rex Ryan was one of the guys that was critical, and Bill Cowher, like former head coaches that were giving him a hard time. And then the other half was like virtue signaling people that were like, well, you need to interview black people too to get, for the Rooney Rule and all this. I just think that if you're an owner, you should just find a guy that you like, and he had a gut feeling on Saturday, and it might work, it might not. I think time will tell. If it's a dumb move, they will lose games, and that will be the punishment, right? To me, it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. So I've always liked Jeff Saturday as a player, as an analyst on ESPN. So I'm rooting for the guy. I hope he does well. And he's already making the right moves, putting Matt Ryan back in the starting lineup, and he has a win for it. So good for them, good for him. And Vegas, blow that thing up. I don't know what's going on there, but it's not working. Another team that I had high hopes for that I thought would be one of those AFC West teams that would make it a really competitive division, and they just look inept. I mean, all the money they spent in the offseason for nothing. It's crazy. I can't figure out what's going on there, but something's broken. I don't know if it's McDaniels or what, but they got to figure that out or blow it up and start over.
Yeah, you mentioned it. 2-7 Raiders now officially out of the conversation moving forward for any chance of making a run and sneaking into the playoffs. The Colts at 4-5-1 being in the AFC South, they still have a chance
Absolutely.
to somehow hope for the Titans to go on a little slump and sneak in that top position. So if you're a Colts fan, you're still holding out hope that
No
a
doubt.
miracle could occur. And now that Matt Ryan's back, why the hell not? They should have never benched him to begin with. In fact, had they kept him in against the Commanders, they probably would have won that game, most likely. So shame on them for shitting away a couple games. And the Green Bay Packers, they were shitting away games left and right all season, but they get a win when it matters the most. And it mattered the most to me and you because it was against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
And we love having the chance to gather around the television and watch the Cowboys lose together. And
There's nothing better.
Even though you weren't there with me, it felt like you were there with me, my friend, because we were texting back and forth. This was a fun one to watch. They were down 14-0 at the start of the fourth quarter, but they rallied back. They brought it to overtime, and really it was, the Cowboys, didn't they make some stupid fucking play call that, lost them the possession at the first drive? Because they won the coin toss.
Yeah, I can't remember how it went down, but yeah.
I think it was instead of kicking the field goal, they tried to go for the touchdown.
Yeah, they went for it.
That's what it was.
Because
that would have ended it. And, fucking... I know Mike McCarthy, I guess, wanted to show Aaron Rodgers that, he was going to get one over on him. But Aaron Rodgers, he didn't have a spectacular day. But it was the other Aaron Jones, who finished with 24 carries, 138 yards, and but Aaron Rodgers did find his new favorite weapon, Christian Watson, making his true debut, not his, first game, obviously, but he's been dealing with injuries all season. He had that, just that drop. I think it was like the first or second game of the year. Everybody remembers that, wide open, beautiful pass, and he dropped it, but he only had 4 catches on the day, but he made all of them count for 170 yards and turning 3 of those catches into touchdowns. So Christian Watson, keep an eye out on that rookie because he looks like he's going to be something you'd have to really pay attention to on the defensive side playing this Green Bay Packers team that we will see tomorrow.
Yeah, I was happy to see Green Bay beat the Cowboys, obviously. There's the only thing better... it's the next best thing to your team winning is seeing the Cowboys lose. Aaron Rodgers looked like he gave a shit, which was refreshing, change of pace for him. Like normally he's just sulky and indifferent, and he was out there fist pumping and really trying to get after it. I think the reason that McCarthy didn't go for it is why he did go for it and didn't kick the field goal, because he knew that as soon as the Packers got the ball, they were going to drive the field.
Yep.
So I think he basically looked at it like, I need to kill these guys now. A field goal's not going to do it. Let's go for it. So I don't hate that move by McCarthy. What I do hate about McCarthy as a head coach is it's all the normal things, the stupid penalties, bad play calling, boring game plans. Like, those things don't change. And I don't know, that Dallas to me just isn't as much of a threat as I thought they would be. The Packers kind of showed the formula for slowing down that pass rush, which is hand the ball off. You have to establish the running game against Dallas, because if you drop back 50, 60 times, Micah Parsons is going to feast all day, and your quarterback's going to go down, and you're going to make bad throws and turnovers and all those things. if you run the ball and neutralize that pass rush, you can do almost anything on that defense. So I think Dallas is really dropped in my, in my power rankings, right?
Yeah.
And Green Bay, like they looked formidable. I still don't trust them moving forward, but it was good to see them at least give a shit. I don't know. I don't know how better to put it. Aaron Rodgers looked like he cared on a Sunday, which is a nice change of pace.
It was just an overall great game plan by the Packers, and you could tell that they understand they got to get Aaron Jones the ball as much as possible. He
For sure.
is their all-star, and again, it was Christian Watson's coming out party. Matt LaFleur wanted to show that they had a little weapon there, and they were going to expose the Cowboys secondary because he was just way too goddamn fast, and they couldn't keep up with him. So
Yeah.
should be fun to watch moving forward. Again, tomorrow night, we're going to see him again. So we'll see what happens with that. The Arizona Cardinals, they get another victory. They moved to 4-6, beating their division rival LA Rams, defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams. 27-17 was your final there. And it was Colt McCoy who was the unsung hero at this one. McCoy and crew getting it done in LA. McCoy finished the day 26 for 37, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I didn't even know Colt McCoy was getting the start. Again, shame on me. After that loss from the Redskins against the Vikings, I just took the week off pretty much. I blacked out from all sports. I wasn't paying attention. So I missed the boat on Matt Ryan move, and I did not know about the Kyler Murray injury that was keeping him from getting the start, but it didn't matter. The defending champion LA Rams, man, they just appear to just be completely out of it at this point, now sitting at 3-6. And now Cooper Kupp, he just recently underwent ankle surgery, and he's expected to miss at least 4 games. I think it's going to be closer to 6 or 7 games, and depending on their record, might be the remainder of the season by the time he's healthy.
If they're smart, it's the remainder of the season, because I think this team, they're out of it. They're done. They're done. They look so bad. And their offensive line sucks. Matt Ryan.
Shout out.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
He has fucking lead in his shoes. So if you get even just a little bit of pressure on him, he's either going to get sacked or make a bad throw. So the Rams are done. They need to just pack it in. Celebrate the Super Bowl last year. That's great. I can't figure out why they're broken. Sean McVay is one of my favorite coaches in the league, so you'd think he'd be able to figure it out, but it doesn't seem to be working. I think they might move in a different direction for quarterback next year, and they got to do something about that offensive line. It's really bad. So
yeah, you reminded me. Matt Stafford didn't even play either. Both teams are playing with backups.
Oh, you're right.
John Wolford. John Wolford.
I forgot.
I didn't even mention that. You reminded me when you brought him up. So, and he had a pretty decent day, 24-36, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I mean, that's not terrible. So, it was the McCoy-Wolford rivalry. It has begun.
Yeah, when I saw that game come on, I was like, who the fuck are these people at quarterback? I missed the boat on that as well.
All right, so out on the Rams. I'm sorry, but at 4-6 Cardinals, they're still in the hunt, right? It's not completely over for the Cardinals. So
not over, but
they're not impressive. They're certainly
not in good shape with Seattle and the 49ers playing as well as they are.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. It's going to be tough for them to climb.
Better start stringing some more wins together, you Cardinals, if you want to have a chance at a wild card spot. Speaking of the 49ers, they got another win. They beat the LA Chargers 22-16. They completely shut out LA in the second half. Both these teams now sit at 5-4, the Chargers and the 49ers, and the Niners look like an AFC favorite at the moment, man. Sure, it's only a 2-game winning streak, but they just look like a scary team. Nobody wants to go up against the San Francisco 49ers right now. And it's like they're their defense, it's been solid all year, is almost feeding off of their offense now that can move the fucking ball and score some goddamn points. So even Garoppolo is more consistent, and he looks like a typical quarterback rather than just the little dink and dunk passes they would normally have him do. So I still wish they would get Debo the ball a little bit more, but who cares? Brandon Ayuk seems to be Garoppolo's favorite guy at that position. So whatever gets them the win. And I just don't see these 49ers losing anytime soon. This train's going to keep rolling.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I've been high on the 49ers. I think that they are, man, as good as the Eagles in the NFC. Oh, they're maybe just a step behind, but when you look at their offense and defense, they've got Pro Bowlers everywhere on the field. I mean, they're just so good, loaded top to bottom with talent, and they've got a great coach who knows how to really scheme and make good halftime adjustments. They do need to work out some injuries. They've caught the injury bug a little bit, but for the most part, they're healthy and coming for teams, man. I would be terrified if I was a top tier team in the NFC having to play them in the playoffs.
49ers are destined for the playoffs. It's going to happen. I mean,
yeah. That's not even a question to me.
I mean, they're 5-4, riding high. They're 3-1 at home, so definitely don't want to go to the Candlestick, as I like to call it, and play them there. But yeah, I mean, hey, way to go 49ers, man. It looks like that they've turned things around, and their season is not doomed after all. Great pick with the Christian McCaffrey trade. Way to go. Then we had Monday Night Football, and we thought our parlay would come down to this game. I was putting all the chips on my boys to pull the biggest upset of the year and beat the undefeated Eagles, and they got the job done. They come out of Philly with a 32-21 victory. The Commanders, they commanded. All right, they led in first downs, total plays, total yards, and time of possession. Out of 60 minutes in a game, they held the ball for 40 minutes and 24 seconds. That's the recipe for how you beat those sorry-ass Philadelphia Eagles. You just keep the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands as much as possible because, God, that guy is scary to play, and I'm so happy we don't have to see him again. Unless we make a run and go to the NFC Championship.
I'm going to say, hey, don't sell yourself short yet.
With Heineke magic, I suppose you never know, but Taylor Heineke officially named the starter going forward by Ron Rivera, as he should have been, but I guess Ron felt it was necessary to make that announcement now that Carson Wentz has been activated from IR. So he will be available next game, but he'll be keeping that bench warm as Taylor Heineke is going out there and collecting his dubs. So way to go, Washington Redskins / Washington Commanders. Just an awesome, hard-fought win. Obviously, the best performance I've seen from this team all season. They just look like they just had a plan. They executed it perfectly. And, of course, there were turnovers for both teams, ugly plays. It's an NFC East matchup. You're going to get that. A lot of people were talking about that missed face mask that led to the fumble. But
if I have to hear about that goddamn face mask one more time.
There are bad calls, missed calls every week in the NFL. But this one was highlighted because it was a 4-5 team beating an 8-0 team. And that's just not popular with these quote-unquote NFL experts and commentators. They don't like that. They want to see the show continue and keep talking about, can the Eagles go undefeated?
Yeah. You've robbed them of their favorite story. Their favorite thing to talk about in the NFL is, can they go, let's look at the schedule again. The worst. I fucking hate ESPN.
Now that balloon has been popped. So sorry, Philly. You are not going undefeated, and you just lost to the Commanders. So, I don't feel bad for Philly or Philly fans one bit. They can eat it.
No, and they still have a really good team. Like
Yeah.
they're not going anywhere.
8-1, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
The Commanders looked really good. It's the team that they should have been this team all year, right? Run the football, make smart throws, get Terry McLaurin the ball. Like, why are we just now figuring this out? He is so good. There isn't a team in the league that wouldn't love to just snatch him up from you guys. He is unbelievably good, and Heineke just figures that out, and certain guys just get along with everybody else in the locker room. It doesn't necessarily need to be a leadership thing. It's just a, hey, we like this guy thing. And I don't know. I don't know if he's any more talented than Wentz, but he's got the buy-in of the team. He's getting the ball to Terry McLaurin. Like he's got a clear number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And with T-Mac, you just fucking throw it up and he goes and gets it. You don't have to overthink it. That's not, anyone can draw that up. I could be the offensive coordinator for the Skins, and that would be my go-to. Run it with Brian Robinson and throw it to Terry McLaurin. It's not that hard. They're balanced. They're good. Um, I who knows, man? Could sneak into that playoffs if the Seahawks continue on a downward slide and it opens up a playoff spot for the Commanders, we could see 4 NFC East teams in the playoffs, and that would be fucking outrageous. And I would love to see it.
Yeah, man, at 5-5, they're still alive, and I can still entertain the idea of them, somehow sneaking in. And next two coming up for the Commanders, the Texans and the Falcons, 2 winnable games, also losable games, as we all know, with these damn Redskins, But I do think it's just a huge momentum boost, and we'll see this carry over into this upcoming Sunday. So
No doubt.
get ready. So that brings us to the end of our Week 10 recap. God, I mean, it's another fun week. What a fun season it's been so far. And got me thinking, you and I have yet to put together any power rankings. We've been missing the boat on this. So we decided we're just going to put our top 5 power rankings together, and we'll try to keep up with it now on a week by week basis. After 10 weeks, it's a good place to start. This will be the new
Right?
tradition.
Now
Wait
that
10
we have
weeks.
now that we have it all figured out,
Yep.
now we can rank everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've seen now every team has an L, so you've healthy evaluation of every squad.
Right.
So
Right.
let's just go 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Let's do it that way. Who do you
Okay.
got as your number 1 team? I think I know, and I think it's going to be exactly the same as me because we also talked about it earlier.
Yeah, they're the best. It's the Chiefs. It's Mahomes' magic. It's Andy Reid's coaching. It's their weapons. It's everything. It's the Chiefs. They're
It,
the best team in the league.
yeah, you don't really have to make too much of a case here. It's easily the Chiefs. I mean, they are the team that every team would dread to play right now. And if we just quickly go by points for overall, just look this up now. Didn't look it up before. They lead the league, of course, with 270 points. Your next closest would be the Seahawks at 257. But
Wow.
their defense is also stout. So, overall the difference is at plus 64 for points for and against. So, and they're riding high on a 3-game win streak. So, Chiefs easy number 1. Number 2, I'll kick this one off. I went with the Eagles. I know. Shame on me. I don't like Philly, and I definitely don't like the Eagles, but I still have to give them their respect. I mean, they are 8-1. They have beaten some top teams. I mean, one of them being the Vikings. So I just feel like I'm not going to get too carried away and count them off just after one loss. And again, it was just a well executed win by my boys. So I still have the Eagles in the top 3, and I got them at number 2. Who you got at number 2?
Yeah, I have the Eagles as well. I
Okay.
mean, they're still very good. Now, my so the way I'm ranking teams, it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm not looking at record overall or anything like that. It's more or less like if there was a matchup tomorrow on a neutral field, who would beat who? And I think right now the Eagles could beat any other team in the league except for the Chiefs. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, right?
Okay.
The Chiefs I would pick the Chiefs to beat anybody. I'd pick the Eagles to beat anybody except the Chiefs, right? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of how I'm looking at my list.
All right. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
So then we probably have the same number 3 then too, or maybe not.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
not. Who you got?
I don't think so.
Who's your number 3 on your power rankings, Josh?
I've got the 49ers at number 3
No,
because
they're in it. They're in the top
they've
5.
they've snuck into my top 5. I don't think that if you look at popular power rankings across the league, they usually just go by like who has the best record or whatever. But again, I think if you put the 49ers on a neutral field with any team except for the Eagles or Chiefs, I think they win. So 49ers are my number 3 team.
Yeah, and I know I wish I could say record doesn't play a part in my power rankings, but it does in that it's not easy to be 8-1 in the NFL.
I agree.
And I have to put the Vikings at number 3 behind the Eagles because their one is against Philly. But that was a very impressive win against Buffalo in Buffalo. And again, they just proved me wrong. They're undefeated at home. So, they're setting up perfectly for a playoff run, these Minnesota Vikings. And I was wrong again. I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I was dead wrong about the Vikings. They look definitely like a top 3 team in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was high on them coming into the season. I said that they would win the North easy. I didn't know they'd be this good, but they're very, very good. But I still think that 49ers are just a matchup nightmare for them, and we'll see. I mean,
Plus,
time will tell.
Justin Jefferson probably gave him the edge and moved him into that
Oh,
3rd spot by himself. In
he's
fact,
unbelievable.
It's just Justin Jefferson who's number 3 in my power rankings.
Dude, he is unbelievable. That catch he made was insane. One of the best
Oh my
catches I've ever seen.
God.
He is
He,
just stupid good.
he's a freak. He's a
And Kirk
freak.
Cousins, Kirk Cousins is just kind of doing the Heineke to McLaurin, just like, well, I've
Yeah.
got a guy and I'm gonna fucking throw it up there to him. And it works, man.
Put it,
It works. When you have a guy like that, don't coaches try and get too fucking cute. Don't overthink it. Throw it to your guy, whether he's covered or not. Just throw it to him. He'll go get it.
get it within the vicinity, and they'll do the rest. That's
Exactly.
why I have those guys. Number 4, I got the Miami Dolphins at the number 4 spot. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that I would have the Dolphins in my top 5 power rankings after 10 weeks of football, I would have said, "You're a psycho, and how did you get in my house? Get out of here." But I'm not saying that. I don't know what's going on over there, but someone's trying to steal the show. But it's
Great
definitely
view.
the 7-3 Miami Dolphins who they've been so fucking impressive. Their offense is legit. They have the best wide receiver combo in the league, and I'm never going. You and I both doubted Tua before the season started and said he's just not one of those top tier quarterbacks. And we're eating it. We are eating it. So I have to give the Dolphins their due. They are number 4 in Brandon's power rankings. Who do you got?
Well, this might come as a surprise to you, but I've got the Dolphins as well. They are really good. And I think the biggest thing to me is coaching. And Mike McDaniel is a legitimate coach in the NFL. I think he draws up perfect game plans. I think that He has that offense humming as
Mhm.
well as any offense could. And yeah, when you have the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver, you got to make use of it, and he is. But again, it's a balanced attack. They they brought in one of his guys from San Francisco, Jeff Wilson, who's just tearing them up on the ground.
Mostert
Yep,
and now
Mostert.
Jeff Wilson. Yeah.
You're right, Mostert and Jeff. So they're just, I mean, through and through, maybe the best offense in the league. And yeah, I'm eating my words. I was wrong about the Dolphins this year. I thought they'd be around a 500 team. They're clearly better. And what else can you say, man? There are going to be teams that can punch them in the mouth, and I'm worried about when it gets really cold, or if, like, I can't picture them playing in a snowy, sleety, rainy winter game, you know?
You're right.
But
That's true.
as of right now, dude, they're clearly the fourth best team in the league. They could beat anybody except for the 49ers, Eagles, and Chiefs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Well, for me, it's the Vikings, Eagles, and Chiefs. But who cares? That's a small
Yeah.
difference. Number
Small.
five. Number 5. I still have the Buffalo Bills sneaking into my top 5. Again, you would have told me 3 weeks ago that I had them at 5 and not at number 1 or 2. I would have said again, I'm calling the police. What are you doing in my house? Get the fuck out of here.
Stop
But
coming here.
I know. Are you fucking kidding me? Is the back door open? How does this keep happening? Good. They are just on. They're on a little bit of a slide, and the Bills go as Josh Allen goes, and he's just making silly, out of character mistakes that you wouldn't normally expect from him. So that's why they fall to 5. If they lose 3 in a row, they might be slipping out of Brandon's top 5 power rankings. But for the time being, they're safe at number 5. Who do you got?
Well, for all the reasons you just said, I've got them out of my top 5. No
Ooh,
Bills
okay.
in my top 5
No Bills for you.
because I think the Vikings could beat them. Go figure. So I've got the Vikings in my top 5
Okay.
because the Vikings did just beat them. And yeah, for all the reasons we were just talking about for the Vikings, they're extremely good. They only have one loss on the year. That's not a fluke. Um, yeah, I went back and forth on this a lot. Should the Vikings be at 4 or 5? I think the Dolphins would beat the Vikings if they played tomorrow, but I think it'd be one hell of a game. Like, that's the game I want
Yep.
to see because it would just be offense versus offense, just lighting up the world. That'd be a fun game to watch. You could flip either Dolphins and Vikings for my 4 and 5, but I gave the edge to the Dolphins just based on coaching more than anything else. The Vikings are a very, very solid team. They're at my 5 spot. So I've got Chiefs 1, Eagles 2, 49ers 3, Dolphins 4, Vikings 5.
Yeah, we were pretty close. We just swapped the 3s and the 5s with the Chiefs, Eagles, Vikings, Dolphins, and Bills. And, I mean, really right on the Bills' heels for that top 5 spot. It was between the 2 New York teams. Would have never pegged that. But the Giants and the Jets, and Jets fans are probably pissed if they're watching this because, like, wait a second. We got the same record, and we beat those Bills, and we are not ahead of them in your power rankings? What kind of rankings are these?
Yeah, if they played again, like, let's be real. If it was a
You're right.
3-game series, but the team that I was struggling with putting on or leaving off is the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals are coming, man. They are good. They have an underrated defense. They have a second to the Dolphins, the best wide receiving core. Now they need to get Jamar Chase healthy, but amazing wide receiver. Joe Mixon rushed for 5 touchdowns in his last game. Then they went on a bye week. So, like, they're balanced. They're really good. I don't know if they beat any of the teams in my top 5, but I think they beat anybody else. So I would have them at 6 and then probably Bills at 7 and then my New York teams. Round out the
All
top
right.
10.
Well, there we go. We'll see how different our power rankings are from now to the end of the season. It's going to be changing a lot.
By next week, mine will be wildly different.
The
I
Chiefs will
guarantee it.
likely be in the top spot for
Yeah.
many weeks to come,
Yeah.
if not the remainder of the season. But hey, we'll see how it all plays out. And it all starts with week 11 getting kicked off tomorrow night, Thursday night football, back at Lambeau. It's where you can find the Titans and the Packers. This was my way too early Super Bowl prediction
Yeah.
in our first ever episode. Seems forever ago now. And
Second episode, I think.
what was it? The second? Oh, my bad.
I think
I
it was
thought
the
we did.
second.
I
Because
okay.
the first episode we did
Was
Super
just
Bowl
Super Bowl.
preview.
That was just Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then we did
Right.
then we picked the Super Bowl for next year.
Okay.
A
All
year
right.
ahead of time. Yeah.
And I thought the Packers would have a much better year. I mean, Titans are sitting at 6-3 again, squeaking by, but in the NFL, who gives a shit? A win is a win. You don't get bonus points for winning by a large margin or making it look good. But the Packers at 4-6, that's surprising. I did not see this coming. I should have anticipated that the defense would probably take a step back, and of course, there aren't many targets for Rodgers. But I just assumed Aaron Rodgers, being the talented quarterback that he is, he'd be able to make gold out of some shit. And again, it looks like they found a new weapon with key wide receivers. So we'll see what happens in tomorrow night's game. But when you put up the little rankings that I like to do, the yards for, yards against, points for, points against, it really leans in the Packers' favor in terms of just being a more balanced team, even though they are 2.5 games behind the Titans right now. The Titans actually are last in the NFL for yards per game. I didn't know this until I looked this up. Now they're 26th in the league in points per game. And the Packers are only, a little bit better, 18.5 instead of 18.4. So the Packers are 25th. But for, yards per game, man, the Packers are surprisingly at 13th. So I know majority of that is probably Aaron Jones.
It's also garbage time. They've had a
You're
lot of
right. You're
garbage
right.
time yards.
But yards against, you got the Titans, who are sitting at 23rd, 357 they allow per game, and then the Packers at 320, they're ninth in the NFL. So when you really break down the numbers, you can put into consideration the win against Dallas. I picked the Titans, but I've swapped it up. I'm thinking I'm going to be going with the Packers getting
Wow.
back-to-back wins and beating a 6-3 Titans team that might not be the 6-3 that you think. As much, of course, as I want my predictions to go the way I predict them, they've been squeaking by. If you go game by game by game, and yes, this one should be another close one, but I'm leaning towards the Packers here to get a back-to-back victory for the first
So
of
so
the
in
season.
in your pick'ems you have the Titans now, but you're going to change it to Packers?
Oh no, I
Or
officially changed it. I
oh,
changed it.
you did change it. Okay.
I did.
I
I
didn't know
had
when
it.
you came to that realization. I
Oh
thought
no,
like
because I always do my picks the Tuesday morning after Monday Night Football, and so I make my picks, and then it was actually this morning where I was just thinking about it, and then and then when you go through the numbers and the fact that the Packers are back at home and that big momentum boost, I feel like it's going to be their day again, and I could totally see them getting to 5-6, and I could totally see the Titans fall into 6-4. I feel like the Titans are more of a 6-4 team than a 7-3 team. You know me and that logic.
yeah.
It only makes sense in this head, but that's all that matters.
No, it makes a lot of sense when you say it out loud. I just think that coming off of the overtime win and then a short week, I know they're at home for both games, that helps, but I think the Titans have a little bit of an edge in that regard. And I think that coaching matters, and I think Vrabel is a better coach than LaFleur. And I think that the Green Bay running defense is just going to get trampled on by Derrick Henry, and I think it's a low-scoring game. I think Titans kind of control the ball, control the clock, keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. I have the Titans, but I think it's a really close game. I could have flipped a coin for this one. I have no idea which way it's going to go, but I'm leaning Titans for those reasons.
Okay, well, hey, I love it, man. We right off the bat for
Already
our first
disagreeing.
pick. Already, so see, I gotta catch up. I'm like, what, 3 games behind you?
You made up a lot of ground this
Mhm.
week. A
Yep.
lot of ground. Pretty much every pick that we differed on, except for maybe one, you had right and I had wrong.
You got the
So,
Steelers. That was the one you got.
I got the
picked the
Steelers,
Saints.
but every other one we disagreed on, I think you got. So that's a lot of ground you made up on. And who knows, man? You might just be a second half guy, a second
Yeah.
half of the season. I'm just a first half guy.
I'm hoping that for my pick'ems. I'm hoping that for my fantasy football teams. And second half, we're entering a different sport now. Things are about to get a little weird because we're going to have NFL football going on at the same time as the World Cup, because that's going to start on Sunday, November 20th. Mark your calendar. I'm sure everybody is going to be excited for the first game of the World Cup. It's Qatar versus Ecuador. Get ready. They're kicking things off with just a bang. They want to get 2 of their top squads out there to show everybody what the World Cup's all about. Qatar, that I didn't even know was a country until they won the rights to this year's World Cup. Paid for their rights, whatever,
right,
to host the World Cup this year. They, of course, are in. They qualified because if you're the host country, you immediately qualify, which
automatic
is
qualification.
the stupidest rule. They got to do something about that. But I get it. I get it. Whatever.
Money talks.
So I figured, we're just going to run through, make quick pick'ems, not break down anything because there's nothing to break down, and we'll just keep track along the way and see how we do. I imagine we're going to agree on 99% of our picks, but
most likely.
I just thought it would be fun. So let's just run through the games that are going to happen until next week's recording, starting, of course, with Sunday's Qatar and Ecuador game. Who you got, Josh?
Real quick before we pick, there's a YouTuber. His name's Johnny Harris. He's like a journalist. He makes really good like mini documentaries, and he did a whole breakdown of the FIFA corruption and how Qatar got this World Series. It's a good watch. Johnny Harris, look it up.
Okay.
I just watched that today. It was very good. I've got Ecuador because I trust South American teams, Central American teams more than Middle Eastern teams for whatever reason.
I trust countries that I know I can point out on a map. I'm going with Ecuador. So right off the bat, here we go. And I hope you agree with me on the next one. USA versus Wales. That's getting kicked off on Monday. We're going USA all the way?
Absolutely.
All
Fuck
right.
Wales. Fuck Gareth Bale. Fuck Wales.
Any chance we're going to differ on England versus Iran? I don't think so.
I have a draw. I don't know if you have draws in your picks, but I have a draw here.
Ooh, you know what? I mean, we have to, right? Okay, you're right.
It is an option, right? Like, it could end in a draw. Right. So I went with the draw here. I think England is going to be feeling a little too big for their britches, and Iran's going to be hungry, and England. Draw. England comes out of the group, but draw.
I like England in that one, getting the win against Iran. Again, I can't name one Iranian football player. So
that Mohammed guy.
Yes, he's good. He's good. He's solid. There's been a lot of hype about him.
A lot of hype.
Only in Iran, though. But there's Senegal versus the Netherlands, or Holland, as we like to call them in America. And Senegal, they're good, man. They're a sneaky team. Netherlands, they did look a little finicky in some of their friendlies. Now that you've mentioned the draw, I'm going to pick a draw on this one. I'm going to steal your thunder.
See, I like Netherlands here. I like the Dutch.
Okay. All right. Argentina, Saudi Arabia is up next.
The only question is, how many goals is Argentina going to win by? Mm-hmm. And I say they're going to win by 6. So that would be my guess.
Lock it up.
Yeah,
Argentina all day.
Argentina by 6.
Yeah. Denmark, Tunisia.
Denmark.
Is it Tunisia or Tunisia?
It's Tunisia.
Tunisia. Okay, good.
Yeah.
For some reason, when I said it, it didn't sound right.
It's like you have 2 knees, yeah, like Tunisia. No.
Tunisia, huh? Yeah, like
You
you're
have 2
Canadian.
knees, yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're
that's how I was
going,
taught.
We're going with the Danish.
Danish.
All
The
right.
cream cheese Danish.
Delicious. Let's go to Mexico, Poland.
I have a draw here.
Mm.
Only because I just don't like Mexico. I think Mexico's better, but I like a draw here. I like a draw.
This is the first upset I have of the week, or the World Cup, rather. I got Poland getting the victory over Mexico. Nobody's going to see that coming, except for me. France, Australia. Any chance Aussie can steal the show?
I'll be pulling for them because I hate the French. But I think France is going to win the entire thing.
Ooh,
They're my pick to pull it off. Go back to
Spoiler
back.
alert.
Oh, shit. Were we going to do that?
I don't know.
No, I think France is just so good. I love rooting for Australia. It's one of my favorite countries on earth. It's such a wild world down there. I love it. Kangaroos are fucking cool. But France.
Yeah, of course I want Australia to win, but I don't give them a shot in hell against one of the best teams in the world in France. Belgium,
Uh-oh.
Canada. This is rivalry renewed. I probably had to get my Belgium flag and put it behind me when they start kicking ass. But you giving Canada any love?
I give Canada a lot of love. I think they're good. I almost went with a draw here, but Belgium is better. I'll give them credit for like a 1-0 or a 2-1, but I was very close to picking a draw here just for the drama. But I think it's closer than you think. I think Canada might surprise some people. Belgium, though. Belgium's better. Belgium.
I've got Belgium winning by at least 2 goals in that one.
Oh.
But, yes, my heart's with the Belgian squad. But, again, they've got shit ton of talent, my friend.
De Bruyne is one of my favorite guys in the world.
He's something else. I cannot wait to see them play. Morocco, Croatia. Yeah, there's no chance.
They're sneaky, man. I love those crazy Croatians. They're fascinating
Morocco.
people. Yeah, sorry, Morocco.
They got it's fun to say Morocco, but that doesn't get you wins in the World Cup, unfortunately. So
no, it doesn't.
Croatia always finds a way to sneak out of the group stage for some reason in the World Cup.
They're scrappy. Those scrappy Eastern Europeans, man.
Germany, Japan.
Germany.
Oh, okay.
If I didn't think France would win, I'd probably go with Germany. I love Germany this year. And they're good every year, dude. They show up for the World Cup like they fucking own it.
Japan is scrappy too. You like to talk about scrap? Well, they got some scrap, and I'm going with Germany.
Yeah, it's got to be Germany. Got to be Germany.
The last game before we are back here in the studio recording our next episode, Spain and Costa Rica. And you know how I feel about Spain. They are one of my favorites to take it all this year. So that said, sorry, cat's out of the bag. Give me Spain all day against Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's not even fair. Spain is so good.
They should whoop Costa Rica's
poor
ass.
Little Costa Rica, but Germany and Spain in the same group could be interesting. I don't know who wins that group. I like Germany personally, but I think that's one of the more interesting storylines of the group stage. Who wins that group and who gets runner up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in the end, it really doesn't matter, right? Because if you're runner up,
for seeding purposes, it kind of does, but not really. But it's more, I think it also is a confidence boost, right? Like we won that group, like we're feeling good, feeling ourselves. I don't know.
Real
It's a little something.
real quick note before we sign off here. The believe USA is in Group B, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, and if they are runner up for whatever reason, England or Wales or Iran,
Iran.
that's not going to happen. But if England or Wales win the group and USA don't, then they would have to play either Germany or Spain because it would be one of those two, that would be the runner up in
Oh,
that group. So let's just
yeah.
hope we can win the fucking group and not have to deal with that first. It'd be nice to get a little bit further in the round of 16,
Yeah,
But
no shit. No shit. Well, either way, I love our squad this year, man. We're young and hungry. Sometimes youth is an advantage because you're not as rattled by the spotlight of the World Cup. So we'll see. I'm fucking excited though. I
yeah,
love a
man.
World Cup.
It is almost time. Let's get ready for the World Cup. Next time you see us, it will be for our Pick'em Pandemonium that we will get going on Saturday morning and try to have it out as soon as possible. But hey, we found our new host website, and so far so good. They are
Yeah,
flawless. So
flawless.
this might be a keeper, and we'll be able to pump these episodes out. No more lost ones, and that's it from me and my farting dog. Gus, it smells horrible in here. I'm going to sign off now so I can step out and take a breath.
I thought you were talking about me as your farting dog. I forgot
No,
Gus was
no,
mine. Okay.
no, but
All right, buddy. I'll
peace.
see you Saturday, man.
Later, buddy.